Are you struggling with crazy energy costs? In this video I'm sharing with you my personal experience and also how to develop an energy strategy for yourself. Hi, my name is Christian Wurzelball. I support the textile service industry with management training, Neuen Textile Service 4.0 and practical hints that you can implement right away. My own experience is I was in charge for 6 plants at the end, and we processed more than 300,000 pounds a day in all the plants together. So I personally purchased probably more than 300 gigawatt hours of gas energy, natural gas, and something like 40 gigawatts in electricity. So I have some experience, but actually I cannot boast of myself because I was really lucky. I was lucky to have the brother of my brother-in-law to be the senior purchasing manager of a really big steel plant for energy. So he was up to date every hour about the energy prices, and he analyzed the macro developments and everything. And when he saw some change that could be beneficial or dangerous, then he would call me up and we would make a decision right on the spot. So when I saw his phone number, I was always picking up the phone, of course, or I was calling him back. And so we made a decision in most cases within a few hours. And we were most of the time faster than the steel plant itself. So in many cases, we had better prices than this huge enterprise. This was, of course, a benefit of mine, and I've learned many things from him. So everything that is in this video I'm also grateful for his input. And I want to share it with you because I think it's very important. The point is right now, and I'm recording this video in September, at the end of the September 2021. So in Europe we have crazy market developments in natural gas for some reasons. So one reason is that the wind is not so blowing as it is supposed to be. So the wind is not following the instructions of Brussels. And then we have also some shortages of supply from Russia because Putin wants to have the new gas pipeline commissioned, and some other reasons why the gas storage is just at 70% before winter. It should be already at almost 100%, and so we can expect that we have a very brutal winter. And of course there are some other reasons as well, COVID-19, everything is crazy right now. And the point is that we have so when you look at the futures for gas, and if you would have locked in the price for, in this case, January 22, say for instance in 2020, so if you would have buy the future contract for purchasing the energy next January back in 2020, then you would have bought this energy with 15 euros per megawatt hour. And right now the price is 87 euros, and it might go up and up and up. You don't know. So that's just the current price for the future for 4 months ahead. So that's the current situation, and that's the basis of recording this video. And there is a need for the hedging of prices. So the real question is whether you can afford that the prices go up 3 times, 10 times, or even more. And in the laundry business, you have about 1.5% to 5% energy costs of revenue, of sales, and so therefore energy is some substantial input cost, and I would rather say that you cannot afford it, so you need to hedge. And you need to hedge even now if the price is high. So even in the current situation, when the future is at 87 euros per megawatt hour, you need to lock in a good part of the price for January, because it can become worse. So what if you have then the bill in January and it's not 87 euros per megawatt hour but 150? So there is still a risk, and you need to hedge this risk. So there is a picture, a story. They made actually an analysis in the stock market. So when you pick stocks at random, so when you have a list of stocks, and you write all these company names, the stock tickers, on one piece of paper, and you just pick random stocks to buy. You're actually as good as every expert. So of course Warren Buffett or Soros or the real good guys, they are better, but the average broker, the average financial analyst is not better than the market. And the saying is, when you give a monkey arrows and he throws these arrows onto the paper, then the monkey is actually as good as a financial expert. And the point is, it's the same with energy. The point is that you have many people who are doing an analysis of the current situation regarding the energy sector every day. And they are paid for it. You have whole departments in many companies who are just doing this job. And the real question is, why should you be better informed than everyone else? So why would you decide that 87 euros per megawatt hour in this case is a good or a bad price for January 2022? You don't know. And of course, if you listen to this video in February 2022, then you have an advantage. You can just look up the price and you see whether it was higher or lower. But back now in September 2021, it's impossible to predict. You do not know how the wind will blow, how much electricity we will get from wind. You do not know how Putin will behave. You do not know how the economy is evolving, whether we'll have a financial crisis or not. So you really do not know. And in this, you do not know even how much inflation we'll be having. So, and therefore I think you need to be humble. You need to take the price as it is. And I've learned this a hard time in many cases. Sometimes I thought I'm better than the market, and I made some decisions. Of course, it's good to observe the market, but always be humble. It's not so easy to beat the market. And in the case of exploding prices, you cannot expect that the government will bail you out. So the government might and probably will bail out the consumers, because they do not want to have, say, 10 or 20% of the electorate against them. and have the people on the streets, but they will not bail out the companies. And do not expect an understanding of customers. Because, for instance, a hotel, when they have a large pool and a wellness area, they purchase themselves lots of energy. And energy purchasing in hospitality, for instance, and also in healthcare and so on is a big part of the purchases of purchasing, and therefore they are hedging themselves. And if they, for instance, have hedged the prices 12 months ago and they have no problem, and you come then and say the prices are exploding and I need some help, then they say, why didn't you lock in the prices? And so I don't think that you will get an understanding from every customer, maybe some, but not everyone. And therefore, my experience with hedging of the energy is, and what I've learned is that you hedge the next 12 months 100%, or at least 80%. So of course you have some risk also, like with COVID, we have experienced it with the volume. So you might, maybe you do not want to lock in the price for 100% of your energy purchases, but I would lock in at least 80% of the volume, maybe 100% for the next 12 months, 15 months. What we did was that we locked in the prices before budgeting, ahead of the next year's budget for 100%. So basically we locked in the next 15 months. And then we locked in most of the time 50% of the volume of the next 2 to 3 years. Sometimes even 4 years. So in this case, you have the benefit that the decision is not such a big decision. So you can lock in 50% and you still can benefit from some beneficial fluctuation of the price. And if you run into a risk, then you have just 50% of the risk. So for instance, the futures right now for 2024 are about 20 euros per megawatt hour. And if you lock in 50% of the volume for 2024 right now and 2021, then of course you have the risk that you can purchase the price at this time, say for instance, for 15 euros or 12 euros if there is a crisis, for instance, and or an oversupply of gas. But you have much less risk in the case of a negative fluctuation of the price. And what we basically did is that we would lock in 100% if the price would drop, for instance, below 15 euros, because then we would say this is a perfect price, and let's lock in the rest and buy 100% of the volume. And if the price increases, say for instance to 25 euros per megawatt hour, we would also lock in 100%, because then we would have the risk that it goes to 30 and 40 and so on. So this was basically the strategy, locking in the next 15 months completely, and playing a little bit around with the next 2 to 4 years. And I can really recommend this. The question is whether the playing around really makes sense, because, as mentioned before, I do not think that you can be better than the market, but it's a nice game, and if you want to do it, then you can do it. Otherwise, you just make a plan and stick to it, that you lock in the price for the next 3 to 4 years. And I think you will not be much wrong in this case. And of course, at the end of the day, you will be either lucky or you will have regrets. It's very seldom that you really hit the target. So most of the time, 50% of the time you will be lucky, and 50% you will have regrets. And that's okay. That's the point of hedging, that you can sleep well, that you can budget well, that you have no risk in this case with energy cost. But of course, you buy this risk that you might have also regrets. And it costs a little bit, of course. So if you're in the spot market, then you might have, say, 3 to 5% lower energy costs over the long run. So if you only buy spot for 10, 15 years, then on average, you're probably 3 to 5% cheaper than if you buy futures and lock in prices. The real question is whether you can afford to have, say, 10, 15, 20% energy cost in a given month. If this is the case, then you can also skip this and just go with the spot market. But you need to know in this case that you have a risk there. Therefore, I would not second guess the market. So if the market says the future of next January 2022 in this case is 87 euros, then this is the expectation of the market, and I would not wait, because it can change. And of course, next week, if the price goes up to 100 euros, then you are lucky. And if it goes down to 50, then you are unsubscribing this video, this channel, of course, because you're so annoyed that you followed my advice. This actually leads me to a point. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. I'll make 1 or 2 videos a week, and I try to make an input to the textile service industry. So do not second guess the market. Do not speculate if it impacts your bottom line. Of course, if you do not care because you have no debt and you have much cash at hand, then you can also say you just buy spot. But if it affects your liquidity, your bottom line, then you must not speculate. And waiting in this case, for instance, is also speculation. In this case, I really advise you to bite the bullet and to make a decision to hedge in this case, because it can get worse. And of course, the best case is to reduce energy consumption itself. So if you have just 1.5% energy costs of sales, then it's much better than if you have 3%. You have much less need for hedging. So reduction in energy consumption is important. And there will be a video regarding energy management on the channel, so stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. There is also a link down in the video description to subscribe to the email list. I'm sending out an email once a week to my email list that is very valuable. So I'm getting a very good feedback, and I want to share some insights and also what I hear from others in the market. And if you are an entrepreneur and you want to get on the phone and talk to someone from the industry, then you can schedule also a free consultation down there, and we'll take it from there. Yeah, I wish you all the best for the next time, and I wish you also much wisdom in the decisions of in this very insecure times. And stay healthy, and we'll see us in the next one.